They thought firing me would be the end. Instead, it was only the beginning. The HR director's voice was stiff, rehearsed, like she had practiced it in the mirror. Hand over all company property. Her eyes didn't meet mine. She looked at the folder in front of her as though it could shield her from the silence I gave her in return. I slid the building keys across the polished table. They clinked against the wood, small, insignificant, like me in their eyes. She forced a smile, relieved I wasn't making a scene. But I wasn't the type to beg, or to break. I left the office quietly, my back straight, my hands steady. An hour later, the CEO's voice shattered that illusion. Why the hell is there an eviction notice taped to my office door? I let him scream. I didn't owe him words. I owed him silence. And silence, I had learned, was sharper than any blade. I met him 6 years earlier, when ambition still looked like loyalty. He shook my hand, firm and warm, and told me, "If you build this company with me, you'll never have to worry about money again." I believed him. Believed the late nights, the weekends sacrificed, the missed birthdays would mean something. He called me his right hand, said I was family. Family. That word doesn't break, it rots. The first crack was subtle. Invoices delayed. Bonuses postponed. Deals I closed credited under his name. Then came the whispers in the break room, the interns who knew more about my accounts than I did, the sudden board meetings I wasn't invited to. The message arrived at midnight, meant for someone else. His mistake. A screenshot of my salary. The caption, "Too much for a dog that only fetches." I didn't reply. I didn't even confront him. Emotion clouds judgment, and judgment was the one thing I had left. I started paying attention. The lease agreements, the contracts no one bothered to read. The building we operated from wasn't owned by the company. It was rented month to month. He strutted through those glass doors every morning like he owned the skyline. But he didn't own the ground beneath his feet. I did. At least I did once I quietly formed a holding company and purchased the property under a different name. A shell. Invisible. Silent. Just like me. They thought firing me would strip me of power. But when HR demanded I return company property, they didn't realize the property wasn't the laptops or the phones, it was the roof over their heads. The keys I placed on that table weren't surrender. They were a fuse. The eviction notice was the spark. I had waited for the lease to expire, waited for them to sign nothing, to assume permanence where there was none. When the sheriff's office posted the paper on his office door, I knew he would call. And he did. His voice was frantic, uncomposed. "Fix this. You have connections. Make it go away." I almost laughed. He didn't understand yet. He still thought I was his fixer, his shadow, his loyal dog. So I told him the truth. "It's my building." Silence. Then a choked laugh. Forced. "That's impossible." "No," I said softly. "What's impossible is you running a company without me. Watch." The board fractured first. They'd invested in him, but they'd trusted me. When I whispered about mismanaged funds, about the contracts buried under his name, they didn't hesitate to listen. Then the employees followed. The ones I trained, the ones I defended when he tried to cut corners. They walked out with me. Within weeks, the company was a hollow shell inside a locked building. The CEO's office lights stayed off. The parking lot, once overflowing, was a graveyard of painted lines. I didn't need to destroy him loudly. I let the silence do it. The bank seized his assets. The investors pulled out. His wife left when the second mortgage notice arrived. And me? I opened the doors to the same building under a new name, with the same employees, the same clients. Only this time, the walls belonged to me. He showed up once, months later. His suit didn't fit right. His tie hung loose, stained. His eyes darted like a man who had forgotten what power felt like. He stood outside the glass doors, looking in at the team that used to rise when he entered the room. I stepped out, keys in hand, not to give, but to twirl lazily between my fingers. "Need something?" I asked. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. No words, no roar, just silence. The same silence I had carried all along. The silence that had gutted him. Revenge isn't fire, it isn't rage, it's patience. It's the quiet knowledge that one day the ground will shift and the people who built their empires on your back will feel it crumble beneath them. And when it does, you won't need to raise your voice. They'll hear you in the silence.